I think we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you. Good morning. It's so exciting to see all of you here. I know people will be joining us probably over the next few minutes, but we want to make sure we're on time today. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for our 2-day supervisors conference. We are super excited about this opportunity to come together, share ideas, collaborate across our programs. I'm Lisa Sullivan, a lecturer in the School of Education at UC Davis, and I'm the former Associate Director of Teacher Education in the program. I'm also the principal investigator on a CTARN sub-grant, which is focused on fieldwork supervision and unpacking and articulating the practices of supervisors. And I'm joined this morning in the welcoming comments by Johnnie Wilson, my colleague.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yes.
I'm Johnnie Wilson. I'm a teacher supervisor at UC Santa Cruz, and I've been a part of the project on teacher supervision. And I'm glad to be here too.
Thanks, Johnnie. All right, so we thought we'd start with a little bit of why are we all here and what was the kind of the origins of this work. So this work began several years ago when supervisors and directors and faculty from the teacher education programs across the UC system came together to start looking at the really complex and important work that supervisors are doing in our programs. And some of you probably participated in focus groups that were conducted at each of the UC teacher education programs and completed space for us. So thank you for that. We sent out 2 different surveys at different points of our work on the grant. And one of the things that became crystal clear from the focus group and the survey data is that our supervisors were really hungry for opportunities to hear about teacher education research, to share ideas, to discuss some common challenges that were arising, and really build a professional community together. And now this seems even more imperative as we're in the midst of these really unprecedented, challenging times and having to rethink our conceptions of teaching and learning. So one of our primary goals over the next few days is really to learn from one another and spark some really important conversations and dialogue that will inform our programs and supervision practices. So we're excited about that. And Johnnie, I know you wanted to add something here.
I just want to add from the supervisor's perspective. I know a lot of us are out there doing our work every day. We're out in the field. Sometimes we're in spaces where we're wondering what to do. What is this thing that we're doing? Because it's not quite the teaching that we came from for most of us, but it's something special and important. And we all feel it's important work because we're raising the next generation of teachers and we want to do that right. And so I was excited to be a part of this project from early on and looking forward to the work we're doing now, today, to talk through some of those practices we do and try to build ourselves a community around that practice we care about right now. So thank you for getting us started, Lisa.
Yes, of course. All right, so thinking about where we're headed, what this means for the future, we're hopeful that this is the beginning of something ongoing and lasting, and that a professional learning community of supervisors from across our teacher education programs and beyond, who share resources, ideas, and build relationships with one another, that this is kind of the beginning of that. And I know that's happening in some ways in all of our programs, and you're all mentoring and helping one another in informal ways. And I think it's important to start kind of building something across our programs to share ideas, because there are common challenges. So we would like to come together for a mid-year conference to continue the conversations that start today, especially given all the changes and adjustments to our programs and practices that will be happening this year. So keep that in mind, and we may be checking in with you in the coming months to solicit your ideas and input on topics and discussions that would be meaningful for you. So I want to highlight the work of my colleague Celeste Tilburg at UC Santa Cruz, who's begun creating a website designed for supervisors that would include resources, tools, videos, opportunities to connect with other supervisors. So if you're interested in this idea, you can join the UC Santa Cruz lunchtime discussion today to learn a bit more about this. So Johnnie, future looking ahead.
I'm just so happy that we have something to look forward to these days. That's part of it, but also just to collaborate with peers, to hear how people do their work, and working on tools. All of us are using so many different tools and strategies and ways of going about supporting our student teachers, coming to some strong shared practices, the way that any good learning community or teacher community should come to good practices. We can start doing that here, and there's such promise in this, and I'm looking so much forward to the things we're going to be doing. And I'm working with Celeste on that project to develop resources. We do intend it for everyone. One of the promises of this project is that we shouldn't be in our silos so much. The UC is big. There are a lot of us doing this work. What's our shared work? What's our shared endeavor? And what things might we do well for the future? And I really look forward to these coming days. But I also look forward to the notion that there'll be days after these two as well. So,
thank you. Yeah, it's exciting. So, all right, a few thank yous and acknowledgements. First, I want to thank our team, which is made up of directors and supervisors from 8 different UC teacher education programs. These folks have come together to organize this gathering. As you can imagine, it's taken a lot of planning and work. These people are the moderators for the sessions today and have spent the last few months thinking about these 2 days and planning. So I want to give a special thank you to Casey Mastrop, who's a doctoral student and teacher education scholar here in the School of Education at UC Davis, for all of her help creating our program and just contributing to the content and sharing her ideas. So and thank you to the CTARN leadership team and UCOP, which funded this work. And a special thanks to Tina Sloan and Rebecca Ambrose for their support. And I was reflecting back last night to when we first started thinking about and planning this conference. At that time, it was going to be an in-person conference, and we were thinking maybe we could have 20 supervisors in attendance. And then we realized it would need to be a virtual conference, and I was a little anxious about that. So I really just want to thank everyone involved for being enthusiastic, committed, creative. I think in some ways it's going to be even better this way because so many more people are able to participate in this virtual space. So a big thank you to all of you, because when we reached out a few months ago to ask if you'd be interested in a supervisors gathering, there was a lot of enthusiasm for that idea. And then when we asked you to share ideas about what would be valuable for you in terms of content and focus, we got a lot of great suggestions and really exciting input. And then we reached out to see if you would be interested in being presenters or panelists, and there was a lot of interest in that. So in the midst of really challenging and uncertain times, you all committed to coming together to be a part of this community building event. So thank you so much. I think that speaks to the dedication and commitment you have to education and to our credential candidates. So that's something that's become so clear and is so obvious from our work, is just this commitment you have to supporting the student teachers you're working with and to education as a whole. So we really appreciate your willingness to share, and I'm certain that we're going to have some really important conversations over the next several days that will have an impact. So We want to focus our these 2 days on discussion, asking questions, having some really critical conversations. So building a professional learning community for supervisors requires that we really make this a safe place, a safe space where people feel that they can be open, honest, vulnerable. So we'll all be learning together, which is exciting. So a bit about the structure. So we'll have a morning of presentations, and then there's a keynote at 11:30. Following the keynote, there is a working lunch, which is designed to give you an opportunity to discuss with folks at your programs some of the things you've heard today in the morning, and kind of think ahead to how these ideas you've heard might impact your practice or kind of next steps. So please, it would be great to hear what you talked about in that group and share your ideas or questions or resources that you want to bring forward. So please enjoy the morning conference. We'll come back together at 11:30. And I hope you have a good experience this morning.